All right, we are connected. We are ready to go. Seeing how everything is going. And I am not muted this time. I'm waiting a couple minutes before I get started. Hello, welcome. How are you doing, Sir Dorotan? It's been a while. I wonder if there's still a lag. Let's see. My plan is to read. So this is going to be a future release. It is in the stages of the editing process. It is off to, like, an editor who's doing me a favor. But they are, like, stuck at the back half of the book right now. So I am, like, I can't wait to get this out. So I was hoping to have it out. No, that's okay. I wasn't really doing anything too exciting. I didn't even realize it, but the first 23 minutes of my stream, my mic was muted. Hello, Bouncing Rubber Ball. I understand about life's challenges. You never have to apologize. So, I am ready when you are ready. But yes. So, how's everybody doing this evening? That's okay. That's perfectly understandable. Feel free to look. Look away. I'm just gonna be reading and chatting today. So hopefully, because I haven't seen the edits to this yet, hopefully it's good. I'm stressed out from the days coming. I can understand that. You are good. Kinda hungry, not gonna lie. Well, if you need to get food, I can wait for you to go get food. I'm not in any hurry. I can start whenever. You can go look. Look away, my friend. Look. Come look. Alright. So this is my first foray into sort of a horror-ish vibe. I'm not exactly sure if I accomplished it. But I wanted it to do it in a certain type of way that it was sort of commonplace. So this is called Torn. The first chapter is called Author. A developing chill with a faint smell of lavender and corpses made Alex tremble. A shiver worked its way from his spine to the back of his head. The cold, settling, creeped into the forefront, slowing down his thoughts. He stared straight ahead, glancing over the yard as his hand stilled with a pen in his grasp. Patches of drying green grass, brittle orangish leaves, and brown bark filled his vision. He breathed out, releasing visible puffs of air. His hands slowly relaxed, and the pen fell from his grasp. Staring out into the yard, he caught sight of her in the window behind him. The woman had long red hair and big brown eyes. He began to catch glimpses of her in startling spaces. Alex's mind slowly filled in the rest of the details. Her clothes never changed, always a pair of jeans and a dark blue tank top with a rustic, multicolored sweater. He had seen her reflections many times in windows, mirrors, and once fading out of existence. A thought passed through his mind. Knowing one is alone and perceiving it are two different things. Alex quickly spun in his black leather office chair. As soon as he did, the atmosphere felt lighter and carried a certain warmth to it. His tense shoulders relaxed. The upstairs creaked, groaning out intrusions he knew were not there. Sweat drifted from his brow, coagulating at the tip of his nose. Alex pushed the back spinning chair away from his desk. All draws on Twitter to keep it safe. And created a timeline. Was looking into the draws. There was some good, but there was some terrible. That happens. I should be doing that. I don't know if what I'm doing is correct. I was almost forgetting I'm posting a. I want to see. I should get back on. Should get back on X, but I heard it. Not so many kind things. Alex pushed the black spinning chair away from his desk. His eyes momentarily landed on the doorway. A few feet away from the doorway, a dark cherry wood staircase protruded into the room. He gulped, and his breath stilled. His eyes searched the banisters for a little girl's face. She was not there today. He blinked several times before spinning around to return to his desk. A heavy leather-bound book slowly scraped against the wooden bottom of the top shelf as he scooted past. Once the book was free of the shelf, a low, barely audible whistle and thud caused him to flinch. His shoulders tensed again. Alex's whole body froze. The ringing doorbell diverted his attention. He squeezed his eyes shut as he called out, "Who is it?" Oh, thank you, but you don't have to. I look forward to seeing it. I appreciate. It's a lot of work. An often reappearing draft slowly sank into the base of his neck, as if something had breathed on him. "Get out," said a soft whisper. The words spoken directly into the back of his neck were tempting to listen to. They always were. The jig of the handle leading to a door opening. The jig of a handle leading to a door opening and then slamming closed caused him to listen closely. He spun back around to observe who or what was making the oncoming footsteps. After a few seconds, a black-haired man in a business suit stood in the living room doorway. Alex jumped, clenching his chest. "Greg, I'm working." "Alex, we have a scheduled lunch date to discuss your new book." Greg's lips twitched as his eyes surveyed the area. He rested upon the writer before talking again. "You look like hell. I take it everything isn't going as smoothly as you had hoped?" Alex's gray hair pointed in different directions, and bags under his eyes only confirmed Gray's observations. "Thanks for the vote of confidence," Alex mumbled, turning back to his desk. Greg laughed. "I have plenty of confidence in you, just not in finishing this soon." Alex sighed, pushing himself up from the black office chair. The chair screeched and groaned. He turned around slowly and began walking over to his desk. His hands went to his written pages, gently caressing them. The pages crinkled and lifted from the desk as if a breeze rushed through the window and forcefully scattered the pages. Greg raised an eyebrow before speaking. "What happened to your computer? And why did you knock that stock down?" He shivered lightly as his teeth chattered. "You would not believe me if I told you," Alex twitched by looking at the scattered pages. On the floor, he sighed heavily. "She must not like it," he whispered. "So are you going to pick it up?" Greg eyed Alex while moving his hands. "No, it seems whoever is here cannot stand what I write." I'll let her trash it again. Alex grabbed a set of bronze keys from his desk. Greg chuckled lightly. I thought you lived alone. He pivoted, heading for the door. Once Greg was out of sight, a sheet of paper floated up and a pen levitated off the desk. An invisible force wrote something and then balled the paper up. Alex stared with his mouth slightly agape as the balled up paper pelted his forehead. Ow! You could be a little nicer, he huffed as he rubbed his head. A sulking Alex turned around and walked to the door. He tilted down and looked back at the staircase. A little black-haired girl with hollow eyes stared back at him. Alex awkwardly smiled and waved. The little girl shrieked, running up the stairs. The invisible force slammed into Alex, pushing him against a bookcase. The case shook. Alex looked up with wide eyes, hearing the intense wobble of an old rusted brown glove above his head. Hey, pay attention to me! The spirit, said the spirit, her voice becoming more than a person speaking. Something tickled Alex's face. He wrinkled his nose. The sensations of strands of hair sent his face ablaze. Okay, okay! Alex held his hands up, placing them in front. Black spots slowly overtook his vision. Never speak to her again. Never even look at her. The invisible spirit slowly faded in, appearing translucent. The light in the room made the humanoid shape jerk, then distort. The spirit pushed him harder into the bookcase. The globe rocked a bit and then fell through the raging spirit. It landed with a hard thump. The globe rolled a few foot away, reminding Alex of the sound of a marble. Greg opened the front door and re-entered. He saw a little girl at the top of the steps, his upper lip slowly raised, creating a curl that lifted the corner of his nose. He slowly tilted and blinked multiple times, fiercely rubbing his eyes. The little girl disappeared. He walked into the living room and stopped. His jaw fell. His eyes budged. His breath refused to leave him. At that moment, he could not speak or move. He could only watch as the female ghost continued her assault on Alex. She lifted him up a few inches from the floor. The ghost felt a slight change in the atmosphere. Her head tilted in every direction, trying to figure out the source. Once she realized it was not in her field vision, she leaned her head back, not bending her spine. Her neck folded flat, showing her blacked-out mouth and hollow eyes. Greg's eyes widened even more. He looked the apparition up and down. In a horrified fashion, he studied the presence before him. The spirit appeared like a bad child's drawing, completely blacked out. With flaming red hair, the image of a paper doll came to mind, with any identifying facial features gone. Her eyes locked onto him, never deviating. The ghost opened her mouth, revealing a hollow, burning red hole. Get out, she screamed in a sudden vocalization. A rush of cold wind blasted Greg. Okay, okay. I'm sorry, we're leaving. Alex's voice trembled. The ghost dropped him. Good. She then disappeared. Alex dropped to the floor with an oof sound escaping him. Greg closed his mouth. What was that? Alex narrowed his eyes and pushed up his glasses. A horror story had come to life. He managed to stand and walk toward the doorway, only making a brief turn to look back. He cautiously continued, and then flung the door open and slammed it behind him. Greg waited a few minutes, feeling a bit colder. His breath breathed. He breathed out, seeing his breath. That is not possible. He ran to the front door. The door threw itself open, and Greg ran to his car. You're staying with Cindy and me. There's something wrong with that cabin. The wrongness is why we chose it. It happens to be the scene of a 35-year-old triple homicide. Alex folded his arms and then unfolded them, shifting around on the driveway. Finally, they entered Greg's simple black car. Greg looked at Alex with a creased forehead. So what's the story? They believe the husband beat, stabbed, and drowned the wife. After he finished with her, he turned his attention to his two girls. Said Alex. He didn't he? Greg stammered. He started the car. Oh, that's a lot! I've already spent 4 months making a model and also 70. Even if it is a few hours, that's still a lot. That's a lot of effort and time. And something that should be appreciated. He started the car and backed out and sped away. He drowned them in the bathtub, Alex stated slowly. I hope it wasn't the same tub that is in there, said Greg. As he thought about it, shivers ran down his spine. Alex briefly cast his gaze toward the window. I need to finish this novel before I can leave. The cabin has the atmosphere I need and want. Greg abruptly applied the brakes. The car's tires screeched in protest. The car slid forward, causing both Alex and Greg to jerk. Alex's hand instinctively went for the small handle above the door. As he took a breath, his back slammed into his seat. The seatbelt pressed firmly against him, and a groan escaped his mouth. Whoa, you okay? Did you hit another cat? Gasped Alex. Greg's nostrils flared. He glanced into the rearview mirror. No cars were behind them. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and then shook his head, his face tilted upward, then downward. He turned to face his head towards his friend. Alex, what occurred there was not typical. You should run away with your tail between your legs. I refuse to enter that place again. You'll have to greet me outside. What is wrong with you? You're like almost every blonde in any B grade horror fest. Greg started the car again. I know, Alex shrugged casually. I do want to run, but my mind insists on telling their story. He shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps he ought to escape, but there was something about her story, something about Anne and the horror that took place there, the scares he experienced, the emotions he could not escape. After a few moments of driving, a large wooden sign appeared beside the road, a colorful medal and a book painted on it. The words, Welcome to Weisenbach Crest, a town of 20,000, was scrawled out in cursive. Alex contemplated the small town. It seemed to be a rustic place that relied heavily on tourism and its mystic history. I need to see Vivian after lunch for some research and personal insight. As they entered the town, Alex glanced toward the driver's side window to a voodoo shop. He frowned at the sudden change in scent. He already missed the earthy, musty crispiness of the woods. To him, the damp, wet, slightly musty smell, mixed with wet cement and iron, left much to be desired. Greg immediately spied some parking. Spied some parking? I'm gonna have to talk to my editor about that. Spied some parking. Parking. Spied some parking! I might keep that. Devil fun. I'm on PC now. Devil me. Devil fun, I hope. Yes, always! Fine, he responded, but we're heading to Josie's for lunch. Agreed, Alex huffed. Isn't like we're gonna choose anywhere else, anyway. Greg parked the car in a medium-sized cracked parking lot across from the Voodoo Shop and Josie's Diner. They headed to the blue and white building beside the bright yellow-colored Voodoo Shop. By crossing the road, a woman with curly black hair sat at two tables. She went inside and came out with four plastic chairs. Greg greeted her first. Hey, Josie Bean. Josie glanced up while arranging the chairs. Greg, she cried enthusiastically. How's Cindy? Josie then turned her attention to Alex. How's the new book coming along? She snarled. Before Alex could answer, she stomped inside the diner. Alex raised a brow, his lips turning downward. Did I do something? You had a date a few nights ago. You never showed up. Almost everyone around town knows you have a tendency to forget things. The woman apparently did not take old Lady Gertrude's advice to call you. Unfortunately, the woman was an out-of-town friend of Josie's. Alex blinked multiple times. He said, tilted down. I had a date. What? Never mind. Just order for me. Alex sat down at the table facing the voodoo shop, eyeing the building hungrily. Greg shrugged, wandering over to the diner entrance. The smell of baked cinnamon and apples filled his senses. Josie, I have to have whatever you're baking. Josie narrowed her eyes, squinting. He's not coming in, is he? Hello, welcome. Feel free to lurk or to chat. I am currently waiting. No, Josie, he knows you're mad. We'll just have to take the usual. Greg frowned. He reached into his back pocket, pulling out a black leather wallet. I meant to say wallet. where Walk It came from. He removed 2 lifetime coupons and showed them to her. Josie nodded. Okay, I'll be out with it. Nodding, Greg replaced his wallet and headed back outside. Once he neared the table, he spoke out. You really done it this time. You even forgot that you forgot. Walk it. Yeah! Walk it! I am a walk it. I've not been able to focus lately. Sleep is rather far-fetched these days. When I do sleep, I dream. Alex shivered as he spoke. Well, tell me about it. Greg pulled out the chair that was beside Alex. He sat down and scooted in. Alex shifted his attention to Greg. You really want to listen? I feel we might be able to solve your problem, Greg sighed. Maybe you talking about it would get you to leave the cabin. Well, first I feel my body starts shaking and then pain shooting through my entire system. I have an urge to go upstairs, but I'm already there. Then I hear it. Oh God, he's right behind me. My heart is pounding, my vision is blurring, and my hands are reaching. All of a sudden, I am being dragged, and it ends there all the time. Alex finished and gazed at Greg. Maybe you have some insight. Greg shrugged as he spoke. Alex chuckled, pushing up his glasses. I don't know about that. Do you think it's your ghost's last memories? Greg leaned in. I mean, mediums exist for a reason. Chapter 2, The Unseen. Does anybody have any questions so far? Or want me to explain what happened in the previous chapter before I continue? Because I know I have some people that joined as I was reading. Spark Note chapter 1, please. Okay, so our main character is an author who lives in a haunted cabin, and his best friend is his literary agent who witnessed spooky stuff going down. And the ghost who lives in the cabin isn't very fond of what Alex writes. And she kind of like semi-chased them out, and Greg wants Alex to leave the cabin, but Alex is not going to leave the cabin. He's like, I want to write my story. Basically, what is happening is there's an author who lives in a haunted cabin, and there is a ghost and her daughter there, and they're haunting the crap out of him. And it was basically explained that it was that these ghosts come from a murder that was 35 years ago, and all of the experiences that Alex is experiencing, he wants to use in his book. So he doesn't want to leave the cabin, but his friend is kind of like, what I just witnessed is not normal. Why are you still there? You should sleep on my couch. And Alex is like, no, I need to get this book finished. I need to get this book out. So there was a couple of like Alex in the first chapter got picked up by the ghost, held against a bookshelf. Greg basically got spooked by the hollow mouth of the ghost because she sort of leaned back, tilted, like her neck folded in half. And now he's trying to convince Alex to leave, and he needs his book, basically. Is there any questions? Or would you like a better explanation? Because that's a... Yeah. Um, like I said, uh, oh, thank you. I was a little worried. I'm like, am I doing this right? You think you're ready for chapter 2? And then at the end of it, if you want me to, I can reread chapter 1. Alright, this is called Unseen, chapter 2. Alex paused for a moment, lowering his hand. I really do not know, he shrugged. It could be a story threatening to come to life. What I do know is that I need to talk to Vivian. Alex eyed the sign displaying Vivian's Voodoo Workshop written in white cursive on a black background. Her sign is unique compared to. He turned his attention to the diner sign. The white and blue contrasted the yellow of the voodoo shop. It had a square sign outlined in blue with a bold Josie's in the center. Josie emerged from the door, tray in hand, carrying 2 orders. Compared to this place. Alex finished speaking, not realizing Josie was near him. Josie frowned and her eyes widened. Thin ice! Thin ice, she hissed. She placed the food down and backed away, pointing a finger. Josie then disappeared into her diner. Alex laughed lightly. I must have really irked her. No kidding, Greg added. A bummer about the dreams. Before you say no, please consider staying with Cindy and me. How is the new book coming? Alex rolled his eyes. It's called The Unseen. He lifted his sandwich to his mouth, taking a slow bite. He chewed for a moment while squinting at Greg. Greg slouched and spread his arms out. Come on, is that all you got? What am I supposed to tell the publishing house? Alex swallowed thickly before responding. And no, I can't stay with you. It's about my experiences in the cabin, the things I see and hear, involving the moments I wish I could not see or hear. Alex stopped and took a bite of his lunch. Greg wrinkled his nose. That sounds like a terrible premise for a book. Alex narrowed his eyes and huffed. You're a terrible premise for a book. Greg leaned back, his forehead creased. He pursed his lips. I would make a great premise. Really? Alex gave him an empty look before continuing. A middle-aged white suburban male whose only interesting life point is his client and author friend. That friend who now lives in a haunted cabin trying to pen his greatest masterpiece. I sense some bitterness there, said Greg. There's a lot of bitterness there. Alex mumbled as his right eye twitched. All right, said Greg, patting his hands on the table. It's an all right premise. You just have to execute it correctly while staying at my house. The girls miss you, and so does my... The book will not work then, Alex interrupted Greg. Your couch sucks, by the way. Then write something else. I can always get you a deadline extension, said Greg. That sounds like a great idea. Alex's tone of voice raised in sarcasm. He clapped his hands together. I have a better one. Let's eat and go to Vivian's. All right, I can see the point is lost on you, Greg mumbled bitterly at his food. They finished their meal in relative silence. Alex jumped up as soon as he finished. He raced over to Vivian's, ripped out with the Please excuse my language. I had a fault momentarily. Give me 1 second to reboot. Whew. Where were they? He raced over to Vivian's, ripped the door open, and inhaled deeply. The bell jingled above him. Alex tilted his head back, taking in the citrus wooden scent spiked with an almost Old Spice smell. His eyes hungrily looked around, taking in all the details, the dolls lining the windows, the long stalks of spice that hung from the ceiling, the models of random brews that lined the walls facing Josie's, a shelf of books set beside the mixtures. A circular table in the room displayed magic items for sale. A voice suddenly shouted at Alex as he reached for a bracelet. What are you doing, boy? Alex clenching his heart. God, Vivian, you scared me. Vivian stepped out from behind him, her dark eyes missing nothing. You've been messing around in the dark, child. My eyes can see it, her forehead creased. If you give this shop a bad name, I'll hunt you. Mark my words. Alex held his hands up. Nothing like that, if possible. I don't like a reading. Come to the counter and don't touch anything. I don't need those bad energies rubbing off on anything. Vivian slid gracefully around her shop until she made it to a glass counter, holding various necklaces, daggers, and other oddities. What is it that you want to know? Dreams, Vivian, dreams that feel all too real, Alex responded. Fair warning, I usually do not do this. You listen here, you tell no one. Should never have told you. People around here barely tolerate me, despite the history here. She stuck a finger up. This is the only reading I will give to you. Vivian pulled out a black silk sack and a heavy black material that was folded. She unfolded the material, revealing a circle with lines cornering. Vivian shook the sack and threw the bones and curios. She looked down, squinting hard. Her mouth tilted downward, then dropped open. My poor child, you poor boy. The spirits whisper to me, the bones say things, a love that is doomed to death. Alex Crow's feet crinkled. Love, there's no love for me. He batted his hand before turning away. Vivian rushed, gripping up the bones and curios back into their pouch. Alex headed to the door. Vivian quickly yanked a bracelet from inside the glass counter. She rushed around the counter to Alex, tapping on his arm. Take this and never take it off. It will protect you, she whispered mysteriously. Alex stopped moving. He smiled at Vivian. How much? Vivian forced the bracelet onto Alex's wrist. From one friend to another, no charge. Beware. Forces are at play here. She then placed a hushed finger to her mouth. Alex frowned but stood still. Vivian, I cannot take this. His eyes widened slightly, noticing the perspiration all over Vivian's skin. You take this or not come back. I will not be insulted, said Vivian harshly. She quickly wrapped her hands around the bracelet and shook it 3 times. She patted his arms and released him and walked away. Alex seized Vivian up as she walked. He blinked multiple times, trying to comprehend her behavior. His forehead creased. Alex pushed his glasses up as he walked toward the door. Greg met him by the entrance. How'd it go? Ready to head home? I mean, to my house? No, I think I'll head home to my cabin, said Alex. You sure? Greg asked. Yeah, said Alex. As he left, he glanced back to Vivian, whose posture was tersely bent over a rather large book. Positive. Alex wrinkled his nose and shifted his attention to his friend. Okay, Greg huffed, folding his arm. Never said I did not offer. Cindy is going to kill me. Alex pinched the bridge of his nose, then quickly released it. I would never say anything in the first place. She worries too much. Greg turned around and Alex followed him. Once they reached the car, they entered the vehicle. Greg pulled away after a few seconds. They rode in tense silence until reaching the cabin in the woods. Alex opened the car door immediately. Greg leaned toward him. Seriously, if you need anything, do not hesitate to call. Do not hesitate to call. Alex nodded and slammed the car door shut. Greg tore away, his car kicking up gravel, dirt, sticks, and leaves. I should really fix this area up. Must be inconvenient for him, said Alex, thinking out loud. He spun around, glancing up. He froze. There she stood in the window on the upper floor. His heart thudded wildly. The ghastly red-haired head stared down at him, her hands pressed against the window. Alex swallowed thickly. His mouth felt gritty and dry. He slowly stepped forward. His eyes rolled back and he fell to his knees, clawing at his throat. His breath erupted into short, troubled puffs, forcing his mouth open. Alex wheezed cold. He continued to tear at his throat, producing red lines. Help me. His body sunk farther to the ground. He rolled and struggled, the crinkle of the leaves snapping of sticks and movement of the rocks sounded muffled to him as he struggled to breathe. Wet. His hands were wet. He lifted them away from his throat. The sides were coated in red. Alex's body maneuvered by itself, forcing him onto his stomach. He crawled toward the cabin. Not the girls, not the girls, he whimpered. His whole body hurt. His vision wavered, his heart pounding. The voice inside him did not sound like his. It sounded feminine. This had to be her voice. Alex snapped out of his trance-like state and stood up. He considered not going back inside the cabin, something he had not done in a while. I get excited. That's my problem, so I apologize. If I'm reading too fast, you guys gotta let me know, cause I get really excited. I get extremely like anxiety filled and excited. So when I read, I have to be told to slow down sometimes. And that was part of the problem on BookTube, is that I get caught up on my own. I apologize if I'm reading too fast. Alex snapped out of his trance-like state and stood up. He considered not going back inside the cabin. Something he had not done in a while. He trembled, biting his lip. I made a commitment. I need to finish it. Alex gulped as he walked closer to the door. The cabin door flew open when he drew close. Alex shivered as he stepped inside, only to be graced with cold air bearing down on him. You return, Anne muttered. Why have you returned? She uttered again, standing before him. I want to write your story, he said through chattering teeth. I want to tell your side. I never saw it coming, she shrieked. I never saw it coming. The ghastly woman screamed. Instead of a shaded out image, she appeared as the translucent woman he saw in the window. The walls vibrated, causing pictures and, and a hanging coat rack to rattle. He inhaled, reaching for her. Alex felt a frosty presence as his hand slipped through her arm. Calm down, please. You're here with me. He leaned toward her. Leave me alone. The walls vibrated faster, knocking pictures down. Items fell from the coat rack, landing with soft thuds as the front door slammed shut. Anne shoved Alex back forcefully. His vision darkened for a moment as he floated and dropped. He squeezed his eyes shut. His bottom hit the floor with a loud smack. He reached his hand back to touch his bum, wincing. It is very comforting. Oh, thank you. Uh, it's it can be, but for me, it's more anxiety. I'm more anxiety filled. I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm reading this, I'm reading this, and I'm like, I'm not thinking about the speed that I have. The icy presence advanced upon him. Alex scampered back, hitting the door. No, Mama! A child's voice echoed down the stairs. Water pulled out from the bathroom, slowly going down each step. We can play the painful game Daddy played with us. The little girl stepped down a step with each word she spoke. Alex's eyes doubled inside, watching the hollow-eyed girl in a red jumper with black dress shoes move toward them. Karen, said Anne as she breathed in. She turned around with a small smile. The little girl jumped onto Anne. Anne wrapped her arms around the little girl, giving her a gentle hug. Why, can I at least play with him a little? Karen pouted, sticking out her bottom lip. Her eyes appeared large with developing tears. Yes, said Anne. You're the woman I see in the windows. You're Anne, and the girl, she's one of your daughters, Karen, said Alex. Anne tilted her head and smiled. You say that like it will save you. Now the water burst down the stairs. The roar of it caught Alex off guard. He quickly moved both arms in front of his face, making an X. Before Alex could take a deep breath, the sensation of rocks hitting his arms and face distracted him. His lungs burned. He gasped and spat. The water kept coming, but it did not leave the small square entrance. The water built and built. The water built and built, crashing down on him multiple times. Alex frantically turned in all directions, desperate to escape the impact. Hush, little boy, don't you cry, Karen sung as a baby doll appeared in her hands. Hush, little boy, Mom is going to buy you a new life. As she said that line, Karen began squeezing her doll. Then Mom is going to find you again and squeeze it right out of you. Water spiked up at him, covering his face again. The sounds of the song intertwined with the water, creating an eerie sound. Alex gasped as a white sheen overtook his eyes. Karen, the little girl, no longer sang those lyrics. A deep, gruff voice with heavy hands overtook his sentence. He cannot breathe, he cannot breathe. The pressure bore down on him while he struggled. Again the lyrics changed. Alex glanced through the crashing water. Instead of Karen, a man held him down, singing the song. Alex struggled, crashing about. The man bore his weight down, forcing him to remain under. Alex screamed, Let me up! Let me up! Karen! Anne grabbed her by the arm. That's enough. Of course, Mom. Can we play hide and seek? Karen asked as the doll disappeared. The corner of Anne's mouth twitched. Of course they'll start counting. You go hide. Karen disappeared. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anne started counting as she slowly faded away, taking the water with her. Only the damp floor and Alex remained as evidence. Alex lay there thinking, this feeling, this overwhelming fear, this darkness, loneliness, is this what they felt? Oh, thank you. I can feel my eyes growing heavy. It's cold, it's freezing. Am I dying? He blinked once, then twice. His body shivered as he let out a groan. He fainted, sensing a complete absence of life. His body heaved slowly. The current world faded from him. Karen's giggles and a woman's plead were all that remained. His dream slowly blackened until he was in a forested area. A faceless man appeared among the trees, calling out, Anne, Anne. Alex's breath quickened, coming out in short puffs. He looked down. His hands were not his own. They appeared feminine. The side splattered with blood. The faceless figure emerged from the trees, calling out Anne's name with a tone meant for prey. Anne, the man yelled, as a blade appeared in his hand. Alex ran, his heart pounding in his ears. I'm not Anne, I'm not Anne, he kept uttering. I'm going to get you, Annie Anne, and our daughters, too. I wonder if they'll be as sweet as you. The mysterious man sung in a low, rumbling melody. No, no, not the girls. Alex felt like Anne running to the cabin. He could feel the leaves crunching beneath her burning bare feet, and the rushed creak of the stairs to get inside, to keep him out by shutting the door. Fear consumed her as the faceless man proved stronger. By knocking her back and forcing his way inside, Anne hit the floor. No, no, she shook. She held out her hands in front of her. Dirk, we can forget this. Dirk leaned down, huffing in her face. There's no forgetting this. He yanked her up by her hair. You see, I want you to remember, to feel everything, Dirk sneered, releasing Anne's hair harshly. Her head smacked out the floor. I forgot to include trigger warnings. My apologies. This story is very heavily triggering in some areas. There's no forgetting this. You see, I want you to remember to feel everything, Dirk sneered, releasing Anne's hair harshly. Her head smacked on the floor. Dirk stood back, kicking her 3 times. She launched back the first time, arched the second, and the third time. Alex arched with her, his vision wavering. He murmured, I'm not Anne, I'm not her, I'm Alex Upperton. Dirk smiled, leaning down. Sure you are, Alex. I hunt their very being. You may be my next victim. I might come for you. Anne's presence in the dream faded, and all that remained was Alex in his true form and the faceless Dirk. I was never found. Who's saying that I will not come back? I do need to finish what I started. Dirk grabbed Alex by his hair, pulling him. Their fear powers me, and you living here brings me to life. He slammed Alex's head off the floor. Alex's head rang as his eyes slowly drifted closed multiple times. Thump, thump, thump echoed in his ears as he came to, the sound unnerving in its repetitive nature. Alex sat, rubbing his eyes. He froze, slowly lowering his hands. Someone is dragging a body up the stairs. His eyes rolled back and he fell back. A loud thud echoed in the cold and black silence. Alex wrinkled his nose as the sharp iciness pressed against him, touching each cheek. A sudden sharp sting erupted against his face. He blinked in a blurry Anne appeared before him. I had a dream. I dreamed about you, said Alex. Stop it, Anne demanded. You know nothing about me. I feel it, your torment. I see it in my dreams. I hear your screams when I close my eyes, Alex explained. Anne did not move, her eyes widened. Why are you still here? Why aren't you running away? She stood up and paced. Tears fell from her eyes. Run away! She screamed and the cabin trembled. I want to tell your story, Alex shivered, still lying on the wooden floor. You keep saying that, she shouted. Because you're a story worth telling, Alex shouted. So that is chapter 2. Is there any questions or any concerns? Ugh. I will eventually get better at reading slower, I think, as I go. Does anybody do... Should I continue? I can do chapter 3, but I have to pull up the Google Doc because I did not print it. It is going to be 14 chapters. It was meant to be longer, but my editor had asked me to not make it longer. She didn't want to edit a big book. It was meant to be 35 chapters. So it's going to be split into 2 books. It's only 25,000 words. So, it has 14 chapters. And there's a lot that happens in the story. There's going to be a serial killer basically comes back at the end. Yeah. Well, I got some thoughts on it. I've seen it. I'm deciding if I'm going to pay hip this and then, because I'm going to go over it. I've seen some roughness in it. But the editor probably still has to go over it again. Alright. We want torn. Light of the broken. So this is chapter 3. Anne rolled around with gritted teeth. Alright. I said this was chapter 3, right? Yeah. Chapter 3, Light of the Broken. Anne rolled around with gritted teeth. Even after all of this. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do need some direction. Because I am going to be reading. And like I said, I have a problem with my anxiety. I appreciate. Where'd it go? Anne rolled around with gritted teeth. Even after all of this, after explaining what was done to you. Okay, even after all of this, after everything that was done to you, why don't you leave? Aren't you scared? She stormed over to Alex and squatted beside him. The cabin stopped shaking. Despite my overwhelming urge to run, there's a story waiting to be told. You had a life. Alex sat up. I want to talk to you about your experience, what he did to you. He stared at her. Anne held out her hand, her palm facing me. Facing him. I don't know why I said me. Him! Him! Arr! There comes the anxiety. Touch me, she flickered. She flicked herself toward the floor. What is this? I'm highlighting that. I want that fixed. Touch me. Her gaze flicked toward the floor, and then to him. Alex lifted his hand to hers. They pushed together for an instant. Then his hand slowly phased through hers. This is the only life I know, the life of the tormented, tormenting, Anne mumbled. No other way for me to be. I know the monster, the demon who claimed to be a man, still causes you to cringe. You can run to me, I will not turn away, maybe cower, but I will not disappear, Alex spoke with determination. Anne leaned in, her chilly breath tickling Alex's face. I only know pain. I can give you hope. Alex lifted his head, meeting her eyes. Hope is a dead word. I'm stuck here. Have been for years, Anne said in a broken tone. Hope is alive for you because you're right here talking. You're not hurting me. You are not scaring me. This is a one-on-one moment. I will remember this forever, said Alex. I just wanted to see if you were alive, Anne spoke bluntly. That one judgment call decided for you. Besides, it would be horrible if I died. I would become a ghost. He hesitated for a moment. I think, and then I would be stuck here with you and your daughter. Not that you two aren't lovely. As he spoke, they slowly inched their faces until they pressed their foreheads together. Shh, stop talking now. You're ruining this. Besides, there's no way you can know my pain. There's no way you see my agony. Anne shifted. She slowly closed her eyes, leaning into him. If I do not know, then tell me. If you cannot tell me, then show me. I'll write it all down. And face it with you, said Alex. Mama! Karen sung out. Mama, said Karen while remaining unseen. Won't you tell me a story? Anne squeezed her already shut eyes. Coming, she vanished. Alex took a deep breath. Well, that was interesting. He got on all fours and then pushed himself upright from the floor. He walked to his desk and looked out the window. The dark blackish blue sky was littered with white stars. A full gray moon hung visibly over the trees. Must have been out for hours, he contemplated quietly. Suppose I should change my clothes, although I would much rather shower and sleep. Alex mumbled as he turned around. He headed toward the stairs. Glancing at the top of the stairs, Alex curiously tilted his head. Karen typically stood at the top, gazing downward. He listened carefully for whispers, giggles, or splashing water. Upon hearing nothing, Alex eased his way up the stairs carefully, one step at a time. He reminded himself. As he stepped up a stair, he heard a loud squeak. Alex squeezed his eyes shut, trembling. He put his foot over the next step. The foot hovered for a few seconds before he placed it down, releasing another loud squeak. Alex's shaking form and sped up heart blurred his vision. He heaved and exhaled, waiting for something to start. Nothing came. Karen did not appear. Anne was nowhere to be seen. He continued up the steps. When he reached the top, he noticed that the light was on his bedroom. He entered the bedroom, tiptoeing, glancing around. Again, seeing nothing, he scurried to a dark oak dresser against the wall. Alex opened a drawer, pulling out a loose white shirt and blue sweats. Quietly, he left the room, with the door still open. The bathroom light appeared to be on, and the door ajar. The light illuminated the dark red carpet. Alex clenched his nightclothes tighter to his chest. He slowly placed one foot in front of the other. His brow raised as he pushed the door open and immediately stepped into an inch of water covering the white bathroom tiles. The water overflowed from the tub. Anne's head appeared to be pushed down, bobbing beneath the water's surface. She would scream when allowed to surface. The back of her legs faced toward him, alternately kicking into the air in distress. Cuts and bruises littered her skin. The overflowing water had streams of red in it. Anne struggled to lift her head away from the force barreling down on her. Water splashed everywhere as she flailed. The unnatural force submerging Anne's hand left her lift it, then forced her head back down into the water. Stop! Alex choked out the word, dropping his clothes. He ran over to the tub. He grabbed forward the invisible force, pushing Anne's head down. Alex pulled it off, but the unnatural force charged him, knocking him back against the bathroom wall. The new, silent apparition shoved him over the overflowing tub, forcing Alex onto his knees, then slammed his head into the water. The sharp slap of water took his breath away, his mouth open, inhaling water as he screamed. Inhaling water as he screamed. Anne shivered in a ball on the floor. She caught sight of the figure repeating his actions toward Alex. No, she yelled out, her nostrils flared as her eyes narrowed. You do not get to choose his fate. You are not him. Even if you were, there are things I like to say and do. She stood up. The water on the floor piled into her hands. The piling water swirled, forming into two giant balls of water. I watched you leave, she snarled, from the bedroom window. She pointed to Alex's room. On the balls, One of the balls of water floated beside her. I felt everything you did to our children to me, Anne pointed at herself. The invisible figure attacked Anne again, causing her to release the water balls. The built up water turned into two high pressure streams that slammed into the invisible man. You are not him, I know that. There's something I want to say. One day I will find you and end you. The water caused the unnatural force to slam into a wall and disperse. Anne rushed to Alex and yanked his head out of the water. Alex gasped, falling backward. What was that thing? He rasped. A figment of my imagination, some part of me says. He is still alive. That thing came from me. I think it makes me relive it, Anne mumbled. Can I sleep with you, Mr. and Mama? Said Karen in a weak, trembling voice. As she entered the bathroom, Alex's eyes flew open and he froze. Anne chuckled, Yes, sweetie, get in bed. He'll be in after he gets cleaned up. Instead, Karen held out her arms. Anne walked over to Karen and picked her up. We don't want to sleep with someone who's stinky, right? No, Karen turned her head, giggling. The two ghosts walked into Alex's room. Anne returned to the bathroom in her invisible form, holding a new set of nightclothes for Alex. She threw them at his head. Alex's hand shot out to grab them. He screamed. He screams! He screamed. Mm-hmm. Mm. Hello! Welcome aboard! Did I say he screamed? He screamed. Probably meant he screamed. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I lost it. I cry. I'm sorry about that. What was that? He screamed. He screamed. He screamed. Yes, sweetie, get in bed. He'll be in after he gets cleaned up. Instead, Karen held out her arms. Right. No, Karen turned her head, giggling. The two ghosts walked into Alex's room. Anne returned to the bathroom in her invisible form, holding a new set of nightclothes for him. She tossed them at his head. Alex's hand shot out to grab them, barely saving one of the items from hitting the floor. He could hear his heartbeat in his ears. Anne giggled. That wasn't funny, Alex grimaced. It was. Now get a shower, Anne demanded while turning invisible. Anne pointed to the tub. In that water? He stammered. No, clean water. Anne tried not to sound amused. No thanks, Alex shivered. I had enough of water trying to kill me today. Shower! Anne walked over to the tub. She pulled the chug. She pulled the chug. She pulled the plug, draining the unsightly water, and then walked out, closing the door behind her. She held the knob. Alex ran to the door with his fist. He banged on the door. Let me out, please let me out. He banged. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. Anne offered. Okay. Alex spoke meekly, quickly given up. She could hear shuffling inside the bathroom and then water running. Anne ran into Alex's room. She grinned, jumping on the bed. Jumping on the bed. I can't tell if I'm speeding up again. Jumping on the bed. Karen giggled. Wrong, Mama, no. I'm the mom. I can do whatever I want. Anne reached over to tickle Karen. Karen shrieked in joy. Anne continued, and continued her tickling attack. In the shower, Alex turned every direction. After a few moments, he calmed down, showering normally. Exiting the tub, he switched off the water. He grabbed a towel from a white shelf above the toilet. He tied the towel around his waist and went to the sink. He reached a hand up to open the medicine cabinet to grab his razor. As he leaned over the sink, a little red-headed girl wearing a nightgown appeared in the mirror. Ah! Alex screamed, dropping his razor into the sink. The little girl brought a finger to her lips. Shh, don't tell Mommy he's coming back. The girl's freckles stood out. He says to ask you not to turn toward the dark. She disappeared after she spoke. Alex glanced down at his forgotten razor, then back up. Nope, I'm done. He quickly dressed and headed over to his room. He watched the two ghosts who were previously tormenting him being silly. Anne went around the bed making faces. Karen pretended to be a lion scratching the air, their previous tickling game now forgotten, and tapped the bed. Bed now, she said quietly but firmly. Karen giggled as she got under the covers, pulling them up over her face. Still playing, Anne pretended she couldn't see Karen until she laid in bed. She felt around. No, nope, still not here, she teased. Yes, I am. Karen pulled the covers from her face. She noticed Alex standing in the doorway. Bedtime, mister. Alex nodded and then crossed to the other side. He pulled the covers aside and crawled into bed beside Anne. You should know this is strange. You should know this is strange, Alex stated as he placed his glasses on a dark wooden nightstand. Shh. With a flick of her wrist, Anne turned out the lights. Are there any questions, concerns? Would you guys like me to continue? Do I need to slow down? I should go back up. I don't know if the he scream is something verbally or something I need to highlight for her to check out. I can fix it. I should fix it. I had a lot of verbal slip-ups. Verbally. Are we ready for chapter 4? Alright. I will go slower. I try to. Hello, welcome. Do you want me to reiterate what's happening? It is... This is called This Could Work. I'm glad. Alright. Like I said, this is still in the editing process, but I figured I would give everybody a taste of it because I have to get people interested into what I do. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to do. But I love this story. It is my first foray into doing this type of thing. They are very hard to control. Alex wrinkled his nose. Chapter 4, This Could Work. Alex wrinkled his nose and squinted without opening his eyes. His eyes fluttered multiple times from the light threatening to peek through his eyelids. He removed his hand from the covers and lifted it to shield his face from the invading bright yellow. A sudden small humanoid shape at the bottom of the bed caught his attention. His heart rate skyrocketed. His pupils dilated. Alex shut up, dropping his hand. Both hands clenched his covers to his chest. The image did not move. It giggled. Hey, mister, Mama says it's time for breakfast. The small humanoid shape came into view. He blinked once, then twice, till his vision cleared. Good morning, Karen, he sighed. My heart can't handle this, he whispered, letting go of the blanket and reaching over to the dark wooden nightstand. He picked up a pair of silver frames. Good morning. She leaned onto the bed. What is your name? You know mine, Alex. He shifted it away after responding. Karen pounded the blanket up. She spoke and then instantly disappeared from the room. Alex tossed the covers aside and swung his legs off the bed. From under the bed, something reached out in quick succession. A hand grabbed the back of Alex's foot. He froze momentarily, then reached up his hand to wipe the sweat from his brow. And he called out with uncertainty, his voice racing. Low, mumbling whispers filled the room. The hand creased the back of his foot. He listened to me. Will you listen as well? He gave into the dark. It calls your name, you know. The dark has many faces that masquerade as sources of light. The hand retracted. That was new and slightly more disturbing. Alex's shoulders tensed. And he released the breath he held. He bolted off the bed. Alex had hoped Anne would be there, messing with him. But it did not feel like her. She feels different, a raging guilt that charges the air. This held none of it. It was stale and dark. It reminded him of a colorless abyss that gave off a worrying feeling. Alex dropped down to his knees and then bent on all fours. He gazed at the dark space under his bed. An eerie blackness stared back at him. He froze thinking for a moment. Nothing. Oh, good. Wait, isn't that bad? He stood up, scratching his head. I felt something, and I know I heard whispers. It's daylight. I should be able to see. He reached a hand up, using the bed to pull himself onto his knees, his eyes wide and blinking multiple times. The burgundy skirt was not long enough to block out the sun, even if it was. It should not be that dark. He will ignore the new possibility in what's under the bed because Anne is waiting. Can Ghost even make food? He hurried over to the dark oak dresser, pulled open a drawer, and started changing his clothes. He let his nightclothes drop to the floor. Unnoticed behind him, a black mist leaked from under the bed and traveled up a corner of the bedroom wall. It split off into 3 different tendrils. One tendril of mist hacked up black splatters. The second tendril hissed. Winding around the other 2, the third tendril remained still, quivering. Upon hearing the continuous hissing, Alex turned around. A pale, dirty hand extended from beneath the bed. It pointed toward Alex. Bring him! He dared look, he cackled. I have a gift! He looked! I have a gift! I have a present! Excitement poured from the creature under the bed. Alex's eyes nervously drifted toward the door. He could not hear his thoughts over the sound of the beating, the internal thudding. He shifted his body toward the only escape, watching the newly appeared intrusions. Bring him! The creature under the bed purred. The hissing tendril mist launched for him. Alex gulped, running for the door. Sweat gathered and profusely dripped. With a wave, the creature slammed the door. With a wave of the creature's hand, it slammed the door shut. Anne! Alex squeaked. Anne! This time he shouted. The hissing tendril wrapped tightly around Alex's right leg. Alex grabbed onto the round brass handle. As the tendril yanked and yanked, Alex grunted, holding onto the knob. His leg burned where the tendril wrapped. It lifted him up into the air. Alex released the handle, but his hand still reached out. He inhaled large amounts of air. A quick coldness and sudden slam landed Alex on his side. He groaned, creating his arms. For a quick moment, his head lolled. A tug reminded him of his situation. His eyes bulged. He inhaled. No! His hand moved in a claw-like motion, trying to grab in between the small spaces in the wooden floorboards. His bracelet slowly lit up. Downstairs, Anne busied herself in the kitchen. Various ingredients, including flour and milk, dotted the countertop. She carried an empty bowl toward the sink. Suddenly, she turned around, gasping for air. The bowl dropped, sending glass shards across the room. Anne! She heard the fearful call. Anne! She heard him call again. This time, the fear struck. Her ghostly being, stumbling back, she grabbed the counter for support. Something is wrong, she uttered. In my home where one of my children lives, she snarled. Almost incoherently, her eyes narrowed. Where? She called out, looking toward the ceiling. Anne froze, her jaw loosened. On the ceiling, a glowing blue mist called out to her in Alex's voice. How did she know where to look? Something was guiding her. The glowing blue mist next appeared in the bedroom. Anne's voice came from it. Where? Alex trembled as tears gathered in his eyes. Abruptly, the room took on a gray hue. Alex looked in every direction, puffing, his pounding heart slowly de-escalating. A calming presence pervaded the room. A child's voice began speaking. Every day he sensed her. He heard the hag. A vision depicting a young man sitting on the edge of the bed appeared. One of the creature's hands rubbed the young man's foot. A hand from the opposite side of the bed reached out, stroking the young man's head. One stroking the foot, one hand stroking the foot, one hand stroking the head. I read that weird. I'll make that very clear. Alex studied the young man's appearance intensely. He had dark hair and piercing blue-gray eyes. He carried a hefty build. If needed, he could probably protect himself, Alex thought. Nothing unusual stood out about this average man except for the worn ruggedness of the expression caught Alex off guard. This must be. The whisper slowly drove him mad. My father was a hard-working man who struggled to find a job. It weighed on his mind, making him easily susceptible to suggestions. He began to enjoy the small touch and the whispers. They had all the answers to his problems if he just did what they said. So, after another agonizing search for work, my father went to the bar to make up his mind. The child's voice trembled through her shallow breath. You know the rest. It's up to you and your decision making skills. Alex blinked. Wait, who are you? My name? The child's son, hesitant but continued, is Megan. Alex released the floorboard he clung to as the world returned to normal, and the tendril yanked him back, his eyes wide. No, you cannot have her come here if this thing is what led to her death. And Alex shouted, I'm sorry I tried to involve you. Do not come. Please do not come. The watery blue mist caught out. Where? Do not argue with me. The bedroom, Alex yelled. And please do not come. I should not have called for you. Anne shifted her attention from the ceiling and disappeared from the kitchen. She reappeared outside Alex's bedroom and walked over to the dark wooden door. She pressed her body against it, envisioning the other side of the room. Nothing happened. She blinked. This is not right. The door buzzed, pushing her back. She raised herself away from the door. Her hands searched the wooden panels for a way to phase through. No matter where she pressed her hand, she could not go through the door. Something was keeping her out. Anne glanced down to the brass handle on the door. Please, please, she uttered. Her hand grasped around the handle, but it only jiggled. She gave the handle a dirty look before slamming her body into the door. The door refused to budge. Karen appeared at the top of the stairs, crouching down. She silently watched, her brow furrowed. Anne, I'm sorry. I never. Anne struggled, breathing fast. The tender drew him closer and closer to the thing under the bed. The blue mist appeared above Anne. Once again, Alex's voice came through. No, you do not need to be sorry. You gave me hope and a strange peace of mind for a few moments. And responded, frustration growing within her. Her body shook and her eyes rolled back. Faucets from the tub and sink crinkled, crinkled and crinkled and cankled before exploding, lasting water toward Anne. The rushing, roaring water pierced through her, slamming into the door. Anne glanced at the mist. You cannot take him away from me, whatever you are. How dare you hold my strength? Anne's voice echoed from the mist into the room. The hag laughed. How adorable! She called you her strength. The spirit that tormented her, the spirit that tormented her and tortured you. How riveting! She partially emerged, her head an elongating nut covered in jewelry. The hag's head appeared rotting, her skin torn yet pulled tightly against her skull. Flaps of skin hung with maggots peeking out into the world. Alex held his breath. The hag smelled rancid, like compost filled with feces and decayed carcasses. Her breath smelled like vinegar and preserves from a jar that had long since passed their due date. Alex had to turn his head away, repulsed by the gruesome sight and the smell that permeated the air. He heard a sudden cracking noise. His eyes caught sight of the warping door. Please, the hag. The warping. Please, the hag, fascinated with Alex, caressed his face. She then grabbed it and turned it toward her. The hag ripped off one of the many necklaces wrapped around her neck. She held out the necklace to admire the sparkling gems and the key hanging around the middle. She unexpectedly forced Alex to pucker open his mouth and harshly push the jewelry in, jamming it down his throat. A plop, plop, plop escaped Alex's mouth, the taste indescribably horrid. The door creaked and warped more, finally busting open and lasting open in shreds. Anne stood frozen at the sight. Inside the bedroom, the putrefied creature, salaciously holding Alex, the agony on Alex's face. Excuse me. The agony on Alex's face. agony on Alex's face. And him pinned against one side of the bed. The black mist tendrils, the smell, Anne eyed the creature she shifted horror to hate, aiming all of her water toward it. The hag jumped out the window, fleeing. The glass did not break. The black mist tendril released Alex, and all the tendril dissipated. Alex held his throat. He gagged and gagged, his lips turned blue. Anne rushed to him, at a loss for what was wrong. She searched his face longingly. Alex hit on his stomach, finally coughing off the key necklace. He took a deep breath and then another one. It's official. This place has too many secrets. But I think I have one more. It's a bit disgusting, but I have one, he gasped. Anne fell to her knees. She held the back of Alex's neck, pressing their foreheads together. The necklace lay forgotten on the floor. Karen stood in the doorway, frowning, and then disappeared. Anne mumbled again, so this could work. I was angry at the thought of losing you. Maybe you're different. Why you're so different, she mumbled. Alex blushed. I don't know, but right now I wish I had the sense to run. Me too. Me too. Her shoulders tensed. She took a deep breath. Her shoulders dropped. I think we can make this work. All right. That is chapter 4. Nothing is in peace for very long. Nothing. Hello, welcome. Nothing is in peace for very long. Is there any questions or concerns or anything? Any thoughts? Hello, welcome. Welcome. Me. I think I'm gonna stop reading. Unless you guys want me to read a little bit of chapter 5, which I can do. Because the piece doesn't last long between them at all. Shall we continue? Or would you guys like to chat now? If you have the money for it, I mean, well, have a good night. If you have the money for it, but if it's something you don't have the money for, then no. Yeah. That is something. I think I'll switch to chatting now. There's somebody who asked about horse racing. For some reason, that one didn't come on. Horse racing. So what do you guys think so far of my story? Meh. Like nothing stood out. I think the story flows nicely. I think the best sign is having listened to a chunk of it. I didn't notice any issues. Nothing stood out. Made me think I changed that. I'm glad to hear that. And great to hear you. So if you want to continue reading, continue. I do kind of want to chat now. I've been reading for a while. That thing keeps repeating. I don't know if I'm gonna remove it. I don't even know if it works. Someone told me it didn't work. There's supposed to be sound effects and things that you guys can make happen on my stream. But I don't know how that works for anything. And because I'm using a third-party service, it might not work. But yes. Tell me what you guys have been up to. How are things been going for you? Or what's on your mind? What's on your mind? I might go back to reading later. I'm not for sure. Hope the rest of the stream is fun. Sleep well all. Yes, you too. It shall be. It shall be. Okay! Where wind meets. Ooh, how's that been going? For sure! I'm playing Where Wind Meets. I am not an accomplice. I would get caught. I'm just gonna state that I would get caught. I'm careless. I would never be able to commit a crime and not get caught. I am fairly careless. Fairly careless! Like, I would think I would have every little detail down, and then it just wouldn't go off well. I would not have, I would just get caught. I would. I'd be like, no! I memorized every detail. I did things, and I committed this. And they'll be like, you missed this little detail. That's how we caught you. Yes, the answer to a question. Is it good? Meow, 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 meow. I am a wave. I wave. Wave, 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 wave. Chaos. I am, I am, I am. I am a nightmare. I should go before I break out in the song. I'm in one of those moods. I had too much of an energy drink today. I was working on the same energy drink from like 5 this morning, but I was like a big cup that I made, 40 ounces, till like I got home at like 2:30. But it was I kept filling my cup up with ice, so my energy like thing never went down. I think I'm gonna have the same one tomorrow. Maybe I'll read something else. I don't know. I could continue. I'm not for sure. I'm like, I wanna do things, and I don't wanna do things. I was thinking about trying to get my PayHip store up and running, like get more stuff up for like Black Friday. But I'm like, that's a lot of work in a short amount of time. It's like I don't think I could do that. Don't you hate it when you lose like one headphone? Hello, how are you guys doing? Please feel free to chat or just to hang out. Right now we're on to the chatting segment. I lost. Don't you hate it when you have like when you lose like one headphone and you can't find a headphone, especially when they're the best headphones you have? I lost a headphone. And I don't know where it went to or where it's at, and I'm sad now. But yeah. I could, I would. Sympathy, save me. What are you guys up to? Other than watching me! I was reading a lot. If you guys choose to watch the beginning of the stream, there is some rough bits, so I apologize. But I'm glad you're here with me now. I appreciate you all. Is no one gonna throw me a bone in chat? I'm like, no, we're gonna sit here and watch you be voidy. Yesterday was definitely a void. I didn't even realize my mic was off for 23 minutes of my stream. I was basically soundless, and I'm like chatting away, Not even realizing any of this. You know me, I know you. Love me here with you. Will you be here with me? Hi, I am, to those who don't know me, a writer, a gamer, a YouTuber, and a thing. And I can't sing to save my life, but sometimes I break out into song. Just because no one's told me to stop yet. They probably should. I need to be stopped! And when I read in work or when I read out loud, I have really bad anxiety sometimes. When I'm working through that, I'm gonna learn to do it. Oh. Did everybody run away? Yes! It was 23 minutes with the mic off. I didn't know it. So someone was in my chat was like, did you know your mic's off? Like, I think it was Bouncing Ball. It was Bouncing Ball that told me that. I am ever so grateful that Bouncing Ball came into my chat and was like, your mic's off. I'm like, what? And that's how I met that one. I really appreciate. Yes, 23 minutes with my mic off. And I was chatting away. Like nobody's business. And I was formatting too, thinking I was talking to people. And I'm like, oh, well, no one's really typing in chat. And I just didn't realize that my mic was off. And I'm like, I'm wondering why they're not staying. And I'm like, oh, that's why. Because I'm doing something boring. No, my mic was off. It was off! And the one time that happened during a stream, there is a button on the side of my mic that actually turns the mic off. I didn't realize it was pushed in, but yesterday it was just the properties. That's a good thing to be pleasantly surprised by a game. Like, there's a lot of games that can pleasantly surprise you. In good ways. Well, pleasant means good. So blah, duh. Da, 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 da. One thing. But yeah. I gotta work tomorrow. So eventually I'll be getting off here. But I don't want to go to bed yet. Somewhere. My lord. know what I miss? The action films with the bad lip syncing and the American and the like English voiceovers. Because they are hilarious. And they are good at the same time. Like, if you've ever seen the really old martial art movies with the voicing, I feel like it is that I'm getting a delay. That I have a delay in my chat. Well, anyway. We will doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. Go get some food. You're coming with me. Yay! We're going on an adventure. But I did not pack all the essentials. Doom. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum dum dum. If you're wondering if this is better, if you're wondering, blah 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 blah. If you wonder if this person will die during a zombie apocalypse, you are correct. They would be one of the first few who do die. I would die so hard during a zombie apocalypse it wouldn't be funny. I would be dead. Kinda wanna watch a zombie movie now. Be all zombified. Hey! It can happen! I gotta be a clown to die to a zombie? No, I don't! I gotta be a vampire to die to a zombie! Seriously. Zombie apocalypse. Yeah. I would not survive. I don't think I would survive in very many scenarios at all! But what if there was a mind takeover? What about going to the store? I am one of those people who like wander the aisles back and forth, like picking up things that they need. And I'm scatterbrained. So I always end up going back to different aisles. Depends. How much patience and how much time you got. And it also depends on the store. I'm gonna be fairly honest. Like if it's something I don't want to do, I'm in and out. But if it's something like I have to do, I suppose that I'll be a while like gathering things. I should really create a list when I go to the store. That way, like I can get all the things in the same aisle. Walmart by yourself. Yeah, I can do that. When I want to go through the checkout, no. Checkout's insane, man. But I'm usually never by myself. Someone's usually with me. But we two get separated. Nothing like a Wally World journey. I am a journey in itself. From where do I go? From what do I seek? I don't know. Can you live? Can I live? I don't know about that. I think so. Barely. I am a barely functioning adult. I'll make that fairly clear. I am a creative individual who barely functions. But I also function, like, fine when it comes to my job. So, and then it's like everything else, I'm like, I gotta learn to improve on the things that I want to do. And this is one of the things that I want to do. I gotta learn to do things. And force myself to live. Excuse me. Well, it is 1:43. I will be shutting the stream down when it hits 2 hours. 1 hour and 43. I am a very functioning adult. Please do not mind the adulter trying to adult. But do look away, there will be some embarrassing moments that you cannot comprehend. Feel free to clip any part of the stream. One can be momentarily blinded by their own stupidity. I have a lot of stupid moments. I have a lot of verbal slip-ups, too. Nothing wrong with being quirked up. I have a lot of quirks. A lot of quirks indeed. Quirky, quirky, quirky. I'm almost a quack! Ha! But I do not have a doctorate in quackery. I wonder what my diploma would be. Like a diploma in quackery for barely surviving life skills. Ha ha ha. I do not have a Twitter, I have a Blue Sky. There. I left. But I might go back to making one. But I'm very much I don't know because I'm very much I don't want people to assume that I stand for things or I'm against things. And a lot of the people that I associate with would consider going back to Twitter standing against what they stand for. But at the same time, there's almost like nothing that I can do that would not upset somebody. I do kind of miss Twitter. I do miss Twitter. I should do a Twitter. I do miss having one. I don't know if I would ever be okay in the writing community there. I don't know. There was a lot of drama. Okay, in 1 week in the writing community there, some writer who faked their death came back. There was a writer who was going after POC people that had almost the same concept as her book. And then she made up a friend to blame it on. There was racial drama. There was this other thing going on. There was this thing that went on. There was a lot. I couldn't keep up with it. Just people faking deaths, people targeting other people, stuff like that. It does. It really does. There's really no all-inclusive space, and I wish there was. I would really like to be in an inclusive space. Because everybody is human, and humanity and things that are non-human deserve to be treated with respect. I think I have. Do I not have my blue sky on? Hold on, let me check my I do not have my blue sky up. I will put a link on YouTube for my blue sky, but I have a blue sky link on my Twitch. Yeah, just look up Vesphere and more. You'll see one of the avatars, I think. Online things are whack, but in person, inclusivity tends to go better in my experience. That is truth. That is truth. It's much harder and much more broader when you're online. And it's hard to find the inclusivity or the things that you want to matter because eventually things come out in groups. I've been a part of several groups of where things have just fallen apart because of something that someone has said or the way that somebody thinks. And I'm not about that. I have to have a line, I guess. But the biggest line someone has ever crossed, in my opinion, is stating that they are okay if people suffer for literacy. That if suffering gives people more literacy, then they're okay with one group suffering over another. And to me, that's just not okay. No one should have to suffer for literacy. No one should have to suffer just so someone can have something that somebody else doesn't. And that whole entire conversation was against one of my friends who are they're they, they're trans. And it was just a huge thing of where he got targeted. And it was just not pretty. It was not pretty. You know what? I'm gonna make I'm gonna make a Twitter. I'm gonna make a blue sky. Hold on. I'm gonna make I'll make an X. Cause I only have blue sky on the one thing, and I'm rarely on blue sky. I really want to see your fan arts. I look so forward to it. That stuff takes so long to do. I will make a Twitter and I will post a link. I appreciate. No, because that's using it as a tool. As long as you're not using it to write your story, you're good. That's a name generator, isn't it? Just use name. Skyber is a writing program and it has a built-in name generator. There is a huge difference between using something as a tool and using it just to do the work for you. People have done worse. I get so many ads on my Facebook about using AI to write entire books. And I am like, that is not okay. That is not writing. Hello, welcome back. Yeah, I'm making an X account while I'm speaking. So I'm sorry if I sounded distracted. But I forgot what I was saying. No, there is so many. There is so many. There is so many. So many. So many ads. So many ads. That is not funny, and I get so upset. I made an X. Oh, wow. I'm not getting verified at that. Yeah, but they're not always very good. I heard you can always tell when they're AI written. It is. I think I found you. I'm going through your drawings now, and some of these are pretty amazing. I wish I could draw. I found you. I'm pretty sure I found you. I can draw a little bit, but I'm very bad at it. I am a terrible artist. If you, I don't know if I had the video and story updates or if it's just on my TikTok, but you would be able to see how bad I draw. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're still not good. That's true. No, who else to follow? That's true, I can. I should. Oh, you will sorely regret that. I wouldn't mind doing that. That seems like that would be fun. That seems like that would be fun. I I am not a very talented artist, but that would be fun. Ooh. Ooh, that does. That does. Draw for a minute and then you swap with another and repeat it until it's finished. Ooh, that sounds cool. I am a skill issue. I will be fairly honest, I am a skill issue. But that's okay though. I think the thing is to have fun. It would be a fun thing. I think that would be a fun thing. I wouldn't mind it. Who wants to do the art collab? I think I would be up for it. I think I would. Either one. Either one. I do have the drawing thing to do digital, but to say I have any experience in it is there is no experience there. There is only there's only squiggly lines. And I think that's okay. So you will never get scared from your own face. You will not have the same surprises or the same way you see others. That is true. It's like it's also the same with writing. The way that you view your own work, someone else will view it differently. It is very much true. That is very much true. But I do not lie. That is true. I do like painting. Painting to me has always been easier than holding a pencil. True. True, true, true. I enjoy everyone. Oh, well, there is a difference in the feel too with what you're using. And there's always going to be a difference between the oil, the water, and the acrylic. And ink feels different than what paint does. Oh, I should really do a stream of painting one time. I don't know how that would go over though. Keep That's true. I don't know. Well, guys, it's been 2 hours and 11 minutes. I should probably go tonight. I really appreciate everybody.